Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Library, where Star Wars is in print, the Force is with the readers, and we return to 1980 for a bit of bait and switch this time around. Now what do I mean by bait and switch here? Take a look at the end of issue number 37 of the Marvel series. This is of course, along with the one that we're looking at this time in Star Wars Omnibus A Long Time Ago Volume 2, as are many of the ones we're covering right around this time of this series. Take a look at what it says down there at the bottom. For what's coming up next issue, it says, "Next, the most eagerly awaited saga of them all begins, Marvel's adaptation of The Empire Strikes Back." Except, no, actually, not so much. They still had one more issue to go. Apparently, because of scheduling issues that were involved at the time, they wound up bringing in a filler issue because, yeah, they couldn't do the Archie Goodwin and Al Williamson Empire Strikes Back comic adaptation just yet. Oopsie! So instead, in April of 1980, rather than getting the beginning of The Empire Strikes Back that people were expecting, they got issue number 38, another rather odd filler story entitled Riders in the Void. Luke and Leia trapped in a living starship. Riders in the Void. And it is an odd one. It is written by Archie Goodwin. Plotting is also done, though, by Michael Golden, and Michael Golden is also the guest artist this time. Let me use the better color version, the more recent version, to show you that the artwork is a little bit different. Luke and Leia kind of shocked there. I mean, you can sort of see a major difference in the art style here, although it all still kind of looks, 70s, 80s-ish type art. Basically, what happens is Luke and Leia are out just together, right? They're just on a rebel mission together, and they come under attack. Their nondescript starship comes under attack, and while they're damaged, they jump to hyperspace and wind up jumping way too far, and they leave the galaxy in a matter of apparently seconds, it seems like. But they leave the galaxy and wind up in the void, like between galaxies. And in that void, they come upon this bizarre living starship that is one of the strangest in Star Wars. Look at this thing. It's basically a bunch of pus bulbs, it looks like. Pretty nasty looking. And upon entering, they wind up being attacked by this Jedi-style robot thing. And they finally realize that what has happened is that you had this civilization that died of a plague. They developed these great living starships. They eventually got into a war, and only one was left of the combatants. Only when he returns home, he realizes that everyone's dying of plague, and he winds up, so that he does not spread it to anyone else, he and his living starship go out into the void. They've been living so long using the ship computer systems that he has sort of integrated himself into, like the ship and the programming and everything, and him and his mind are all kind of connected together now, that he's been basically playing games to keep himself entertained, and doesn't even realize at the moment that Luke and Leia get aboard that it's not just part of the game that he's playing with himself, and he almost winds up killing them. Until eventually, they wind up going back into the galaxy, facing off with the same Imperials that chased them down. The Imperials are defeated by the living ship pretty handily, and Luke and Leia get to go on their merry way as this bizarre traveler in the void continues on into the void, just him and the ship, which are essentially one. It is freaking weird. Strange as this issue is, though, it did appear in black and white form, which is kind of neat looking, especially with this style of artwork, in Classic Star Wars A Long Time Ago Prestige Format Series Volume 2, the same one that had the god-awful Whatever Happened to Jabba the Hutt story in it. Rarely, if ever, referenced ever again, not all that great, just kind of strange. Interesting that it has a new artist, but it's a filler story, and I think anybody back then who was interested in seeing the Empire Strikes Back adaptation, who went and said, "Yay, number 38 is out," and found this instead of the Empire Strikes Back, probably would have been quite pissed. But, them's the breaks. I mean, that's just the way it tends to work with publishing schedules. If something goes awry, what are you going to do? I mean, how long did I wait for that comic pack thing to come out, or for my regular issue of Tales to come out? That was a saga in and of itself if you follow my podcasts and such. So, I mean, it's just one of those things that just sort of happens from time to time, and what it gave us was something unusual, something weird. Something good? Maybe as a one-shot. but at least something unusual that now we can fondly remember back as that oddball story that took place as filler between the main storyline and The Empire Strikes Back. In that sense, it does have a place in Star Wars history. So, you probably already know the answer to this, but the question we always ask is this an essential read? The answer, of course, no. No way. Not on your life. Not now, not then, not ever. A weird read, but certainly not essential. It's one to check out if you've got the omnibus. It's not that great to hunt down individually, at least not unless you're a particularly big fan of Michael Golden, whose name I had to look back up there, and you want to check out some of his Star Wars work. Otherwise, you might as well just skip it and move on to the Empire Strikes Back adaptation, or since you've probably seen the movie, should have seen the movie, move on to the one after it, Death Probe, I believe it is. So, in any event, not a great one, not a bad one, just a weird one. Issue 38, Riders in the Void, gets a from me this time around. With that, thank you for watching, and as always, may the Force be with the readers.